We pick up 4 break offsuit from middle October position. It is nice once in a while to play 4 break offsuit to balance my life range. Our opponent today is New York City, who calls, and we take flop. The first card on the flop is the beautiful Statue of Liberty. We ride a a boat from Staten Island to go to Manhattan, and we took some beautiful pictures on the way. The second card on the flop is the beautiful Empire State Building. It's got a whole view of the city plus lots of Jersey City as well. Definitely high up in the sightseeing range, literally high up. Final card of the flop is the Metropolitan Museum, where I spend most of my time in the weapons and armor section, looking for my next gun to fire that 3-barrel glove. Turn is the beautiful Times Square. There are lots of things to see here. For example, people, and people. Absolutely crowded. And of course, for the river card, we have the Hudson River. We are running bad on the weather, otherwise I would hop on to the end of the pier, buy a bag of peanuts, put it onto middle of a piece of paper, and fold the paper, so I can announce to the world, as a poker player, I folded the nuts on the river. We also take ourselves to Chinatown, and had some Cantonese dim sum. The food is definitely high up in the range. We're just about to win a big pot of fun and continue our adventure. This is when my opponent, New York City, wagers a big bet of more than $2,000, which consists of hotel rates, food, beverages, parking, ticket fares, etc. This is a massive overbet for all the fun in the pot. So I sigh and fold our 4-break offsuit. Sad face. Anyways, back to reality. My name's Joe the Donk, and I'm trying to make $50 per hour playing 1-3. This is episode number 4. Spoilers alert. Today we played really bad, making bad decisions and lost a bunch, which is our first losing session in the series. Without further ado, we buy in for 1500, matching the biggest stack, and let's get into the action. First significant hand of the night. We pick up pocket nines, middle position. I open to $10, cutoff, and small blind calls. Flop is 553 rainbow. It's pretty good. Checks to the cutoff. Who bets $20? The small blind folds. Although it's a big size compared to the size of the pot, we still beat hands like pocket 8s, 7s, etc. It's just a little bit early to fold this hand, and it's probably an overplay to check raise with this hand, so I just make the call. Turns to king of diamonds. Action goes check. At this point, we know that he doesn't have a 5, probably doesn't have a king, so his range is pocket pair heavy like 8, 7, 6s, 4s, or like a 3, like ace 3 suited. River is the miracle, 9 of hearts. So we river a very disguised full house. At this point, I ask myself the inverse question, how much would I bet to fold out a hand like pocket 8s? Probably like 90 or 100. So we bet a slightly less wager of $75, but unfortunately he folds and we will not get paid. But a win's a win. We start the night strong on a high note. We then lose 5 small to medium pots with ace jack suited, pocket 7s, king jack offsuit, 8-9 suited, ace queen suited, and our stack window down. We add $200 to get back to starting stack. That's when we pick up our first premium of the day, ace king of hearts. I'm in the hijack and open to $10. Cut of course, and the big blind mean 3 bets to $20. I 4 bet to 130, cut of folds, and big blind calls. Big blind has around the same stack as me, so we are very deep. Flop is 8-9-4 with 2 spades. Big blind checks, I bet $60, he calls. Again, in 3 bet pots in position, I am range betting small, as my opponents generally call too wide and fast play too much. My plan is to bet large on blank turns and bomb a clean river to get a range fold. Turns an offsuit 7. Big blind just leads out for a massive bet of $200. Well, I fold, and opponent's nice enough to show us he had pocket 7s. This is why bluffing in these type of situations is so profitable, because when they have a strong hand, they just let me off the hook. We lose a chunky pot and move on. We then lose 2 small pots with king queen off and pocket sixes. That's when we pick up a very nice looking king queen of spades. I'm in middle position and open to $10. Cut of course the 10, and so is the small blind. We are 3 ways to a flop. Flop is queen 6 deuce rainbow, 1 spade. Checks to the cutoff, who bets $20. Small blind calls. Yeah, I think it's too early to fold this hand, so I make the call as well. Turn is a 9, completing the rainbow. Checks to the cutoff, who bets 55. Small blind calls again. At this point, we are feeling a little bit uncomfortable 3 ways, but we still beat some value hands like queen jack, queen 10. I mean, we are in Stockville for the night, so I was steaming a little bit, tilting a little bit, and made a whatever loose call. River's the king of hearts. We improve to top 2. Small blind checks. I lead out for 115, strictly for value. Cutoff quickly folds, but small blind, to my surprise, goes all in for 195. Oh my god, this is never a bluff, and I should just fold. But I'm stuck. I make a really good hand on the river, and it's only like $90 more. Also, if he had a hand that beats me like a set, shouldn't we have heard it already? Did he really check a strong hand 3 streets, 3 ways? I don't know. I'm a donk. The price so cheap. I pray that he has a hand like king 6, king deuce, or even the same hand, king queen. Anyways, I make a tilt call, and of course, he shows pocket deuces. And we lose a massive pot and tilting. So he checked 3 streets, 3 ways with bottom set on the flop. Really nice trap, sir. I got completely owned. Nice answer. Next few hands we lose with king 9 offsuit, completing the small blind, and lose $3. Open the button with queen 3 of spades and lose a small pot. Open the cutoff with 6-4 of diamonds, flop a pair and lose a medium-sized pot. Our stack dwindled down to just over 1,000. We are in the hole for roughly 600 at this point. We add on 500 and then lose 3 small to medium-sized pots again with the next 3 hands with Knight 7 of spades, Jack 10 of spades, and Jack 9 of spades. That's when we pick up 6-7 of hearts in the big blind. Middle position open to 15, only I call in the big blind. Flop is queen 10 deuce with 2 hearts. Action goes check check. Turn is the 8 of spades, so we turn a dummy gut shot draw with our 7 high flush draw. I lead out for $15 as a semi bluff, and we get the bad news. Middle position raises to 60. I am a bit steamed up at this point and thought about a 3-bet, but quickly cooled down. These turn raises are quite nutted and uncapped. I mean, if he's bluffing, why not c-bet bluff the flop? So this is a value heavy raise, although it's a very narrow range he's representing, only hands like pocket 8s. Anyways, my plan at this point is to just call and make my hand. If I river a 9, I'll lead out small to thin value bet versus pocket 8. If I make my flush, I'll lead out a medium to pot size thick value bet. If I brick, I'll just check fold. Anyways, I make a tilting call. And the river is a 3 of diamonds, completing our brick. And we check fold to a big bet. I can't remember what the bet was, but it was a big bet. Opponent is kind enough to show us he had Jack 9 offsuit for the nutter butters. Can't seem to win a pot tonight. We add on for another 800 to cover the biggest stack. We are in for a total of 3,000 now. I'm tilting, I'm super steamed up. That's when I pick up 2 sixes in the cutoff. Under the gun limps for 3, I ISO to $15 to go under the gun course. Flop is King Queen 5 or spades. I don't have a spade. He checks. On monotone boards, I tend to employ a tiny bet or check strategy. A tiny bet will likely to cap my opponent's range if he just calls, as 2 pairs, sets, and small flushes are very likely to race over the small bet for quote-unquote protection. That's what I do. I bet out $10 just to get some information about my opponent's hand. He just calls. So at this point, we can pretty much rule out 2 pairs, sets, and small flushes. There can be an occasion where he's trapping with a nut flush, but that is a very tiny portion of his mostly capped range. Turn is the 3 of diamonds, complete brick. When he checks, I bet 45 just targeting his ace of spades, jack of spades, and straight draw type of hands, as well as some weaker 1 pair type of hands. I want these 1 pair type of hands to call the turn and fold to a bomb on the river, so we capture a streak of quote-unquote value from these hands, although those hands are beating us right now. Anyways, I bet 45 and he calls rather quick. River is another 3, it's 3 of hearts, a very good card, everything bricked. I was sticking to my plan and thinking about betting something like 200 to get a range fold. That's until my opponent leads out for 110. Now things get more interesting. What's his range? I don't think he's leading out with a king or a queen, as these hands are generally looking to check call the river. I don't think there are full houses in his range, as I would probably have heard of pocket 5s on the flop or on the turn. Also, pocket 5s is likely to go for a check raise on the river some percentage of the time. So his range is missed draws or flopped nut flushes. Our hands suddenly have lots of showdown value against this range. I'm usually not a fan of calling river bets, but I trust my read, and after a little bit of thought, I flick in the call. And I get slapped in the face as our opponent shows Queen Jack offsuit with the Jack of Spades for middle pair Jack High flush draw. I got completely owned again. However, with this information, we can deduce a couple of things. First, his river bet is merged instead of polar, meaning that his river bets will consist of middling strength hands as opposed to strong hands and bluffs only. Second, his river check range is probably extremely weak, as he's betting middling strength hands, so if we arrive river with a bluff, we can attack his checking range with impunity. This information is vital in my decisions in the next hand. Exactly 1 orbit later, we pick up Queen Jack of Hearts, middle position. There are 2 limps, I make it $20 to go, only the undergone opponent from the last hand calls. Flop is Queen 5-4 rainbow with 1 heart. Checks to me, I bet $20 and he calls. Turn is the 7 of diamonds. He leads out for $65. Against other opponents, this is a snap fold as he is representing a range that's crushing Queen Jack and leading out to avoid a checkback. But as we learned from our last hand, when he bets, his range is merged, which means he could have hands like a weaker queen, 5-6, ace-4, 6-7 type of middling strength hands. Against that range, Queen Jack is at least a call. So I call the 65 and let's take a river. River's the deuce of diamonds, really good card. He bets again for $100. This sizing smaller than the turn size geometric wise. Plus his betting range is merged, so I called rather quickly. And our read was right. He tables 6-7 offsuit and we win. Information from our last hand has helped us with making easier decisions this hand. And just like this, we finally win a pot, which is our second pot of the night, after we rivered a full house in our first hand 5 hours ago. And this will be the last hand of the night, as I didn't feel like playing anymore. It was a short session. Overall, I haven't played any extremely big pots. Just had nothing going on for me tonight, not making any super strong hands to win big pots, and kept losing small to medium pots that added up. To be honest with you guys, I was a bit tilted and made some very questionable calls, questionable plays, and I definitely need to work on my mental game. That's it for tonight. I played 5 hours of poker, didn't play many hands at all. I bought in for 3,000 and cashed out for 2,100, and we booked a solid loss of $900, and it's our first losing session. Poker is fun when you are winning, and it's obviously not when you are on the receiving end. But this is poker. If I want to take poker seriously, I need to be able to deal with this mentally, and more importantly, learn from my mistakes. My total results so far are up here on the screen. If you like my content, please hit a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.